So here was a hand on Live at the Bike, which made the rounds. Like Poker News, like Zach Elwood commented on it that he caught some stuff. This is a hand between Jamie Gold, World Series of Poker champion, and DJ Melody, all-star DJ, who plays on Live at the Bike a lot. So the action beforehand, of course, makes a difference. Edward, hashtag reg on Live at the Bike, raises the 80. Charlie calls in the cutoff. Dennis with 1N calls in the small blind, King 10. And the DJ Melody picks up 9s in the big blind. And he's just going to call. And Jamie Golden, they're going to straddle 9-7 off. Is going to hashtag defend pot odds, implied odds. And we're going to see a flop. Crazy flop. 9-7-3, 2 hearts. And I'm going to let Zach take it from here.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things to look at in this hand. How does I guess maybe we should play this street out and then say something.
Okay.
Because I didn't have much to say about pre-flop, so.
So check to Edward, who continuation bets ace-10 high. He has the ace of hearts, so that's definitely reasonable. If he picks up a heart, he has options. Charlie's going to call his pair of threes. DJ Melody. Opts to check and raise to 375. And Jamie Gold has a tough decision. He has top 2 pair. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be a tough decision, but credits to Jamie Gold. He thought it was a tough decision. As a check raise here can easily be like a heart draw, a straight draw, an overpair, even ace-9. Like, I'm never folding top 2 pair. And Jamie Gold, to his credit, is thinking about what's going on. And he just calls.
I think Jamie Gold at that point said something like, "You got aces again," or something like that, and
right. So
DJ laughed.
So that's one hint.
There's an audio. The audio in this is pretty good. So if you get a chance to watch it online afterwards, it's just adds a little bit of context to it.
So Charlie's going to call his pair of threes.
That's an interesting one.
Right, does have position. So if they didn't have what they had, it might not have been too catastrophic. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an interesting hand. I wrote about this, an article about this one, just because there was a lot of strong hand tells in this one from DJ, and we'll watch them more on the turn. But the things that were interesting on the flop was one of the things was just really loose physical and verbal behavior from DJ after kind of starting from when he put the chips in the raise to when Jamie Gold was interacting with him and saying you have aces, and DJ just had a big laugh, really loose behavior and physically and verbally. Again, that's not to say he couldn't be bluffing, but I think that kind of stuff just makes it a bit more likely that he's relaxed, as opposed to if he was, raising with a hard draw, he might be a bit more buttoned up. And again, I don't know him, so it's possible he's balanced with this, but I think in general is that stuff's important. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes here.
So yeah, a hand previous to this, DJ Melody had aces, and Jamie Gold had top pair. So check out that hand in the archives.
Was it right before this?
It was. I don't remember if it was the direct hand before us, but it might have been like a couple. I know it was very, very quick in succession.
Right. Yeah. So I think let's go to the turn, because I think most of the stuff is on the turn.
Okay.
And let's watch. I think there's a furrowed brow that DJ has on the turn when the turn comes before he bets. So let's watch his forehead a little bit, as he thinks. It might be hard to see on this. He's thinking, stacking up chips. Should I do it? Then he goes back to almost like, I was going to bet, and then maybe I'm not really sure that, you know, a little bit of like displayed uncertainty. Now he's checking out Jamie's chips. He's asking the other guy too. So we'll talk all about this stuff after this goes through. But all this stuff is relevant and something I talk about in the article, and I think it's relevant. He asked Jamie and the other guy both what they had. See, there's a little like uncertain mouth movement there too, where he was like kind of stretched out lips. Yeah, why don't you pause it here? Actually, it might be good.
Okay.
Because so he ends up betting here, and can't remember how much, but Jamie Gold ends up making a good fold here, and I think it was a lot of the behaviors that DJ had here that helped make up Jamie's mind, because I would bet, you know, Jamie's into the psychological side of poker, so I bet he's you know, obviously pretty experienced.
Right.
At this point, even if you could knock his, you know, World Series of Poker win, but he, you know, he's played a lot since then, obviously. But so I think some of the things we had on the turn here, you had a furrowed brow, kind of like a bunched up look that people get when they're like confused about something. He had that before he bet the turn, which in general, signs of uncertainty and concern when someone makes a bet is going to be tied to, you know, make relaxation and strong hands more likely. He had a few of those kind of things, like he had a stretched out mouth at some, you know, at one point where he was like, you know, should I do this kind of look.
Yeah.
So both of those things are signs of concern and uncertainty, and from a bettor anyway, from someone making a big bet, not necessarily, you know, not from somebody who ends up checking, but from a bettor, those things increase likelihood of relaxation. The other thing was, in a similar way, when he stacked up his chips as if he was ready to bet, and then he kind of changed his mind and went back to, you know, just riffling chips or whatever and thinking. Those kinds of preparing chips and then changing mind, I mean, that's another physical sign of uncertainty, because bluffers will generally just want to put the chips in, right? They're not going to want to demonstrate or portray uncertainty accidentally by stacking up chips and then seeming to change their mind. It's just not. It's super rare for a bluffer to do that. A bluffer just wants to stack the chips up and put them in normally, right? They want to portray strength.
Yeah.
So that was another one. So it's just a lot of things adding up here. So another one was when he asked both Jamie and the other opponent what their chip stacks were. Very curious. This can be tied to strength too, because a bluffer does not want to communicate that the reason that they're betting or raising is tied to an opponent's chip stack. So, for example, you know, and one of the things he asked Jamie actually is more specific. He says, "You don't have any big chips behind, do you?" And like a bluffer is going to err on the side of not wanting to communicate that their decision might be based on, you know, someone having a less of a chip stack, or someone, you know, basically because it can be interpreted as a little bit of weakness, like uncertainty. Bluffers err on the side of not asking about chip stacks. They'll usually try to figure it out visually, right? And do it more inconspicuously. Not to say that that's always the case, because obviously someone might really need to see what a chip stack is, especially across the table, like for his opponent across the table. But what makes it interesting in this case is he asked both his opponents, including Jamie, who's directly beside him. So the fact that he has to ask a guy who's directly beside him when he could probably just easily glance over and do a little bit more inconspicuous chip counting and not say, "Oh, you don't have any big chips behind, do you?" I mean, those kind of things make it more likely that he's on the strong side and just really relaxed.
Yeah.
So those are all things too. And what else do we have here? Yeah, that's pretty much out. He gets some concerned, kind of stretched out lips, like not sure if I should do this before he bets. You know, so we're looking at like multiple factors there that all point to, in my opinion, point to a strong hand. So it's kind of like in a lot of spots in live poker, it's like one little piece of information might not be that valuable, but then you add in like 2, 3, 4, 5 things that all point the same way, and then you're like, well, what are the odds that this person is doing some super complex reverse tell? It's just you know, the more things involved, the less likely it becomes, you know.
Yeah, I agree with everything. Although all these signs of strengths is like, is it enough to fold top 2 pair? That's the big question. So we're gonna keep playing.
I think it is.
And I've played with Jamie Gold a few sessions, so I don't think he's given enough credit um, for his table talk and his ability. I think, like, obviously with the whole card, it's easy for us to say things, but and he just looks really concerned with top two pair.
He hates this.
Yeah. He's like sick to his stomach.
He does some more verbal inducements here, which credit to him, he's pretty good at.
Yeah.
Assuming he's getting information out of it, he did induce him to do a lot of like very loose smiling and laughing, which can sometimes give you a clue that someone's just super relaxed.
Yeah, and I vaguely remember him saying, like, if we were heads up in the spot, we'd have a lot of fun talking, but because Charlie's also in hand, they can't.
So it's almost like he's having his cake and eating it too. He's talking and getting a reaction without talking about the hand.
Right. Honestly, a lot of credit to Jamie Gold. Like, I feel he, like he says, he's an above average, way above average player in comparison to 600 million people, and he self admits he's not one of the elite. But I just don't. I think he's given a hard time for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like his performance in the WSOP main event when he won, but at the same time, it's like everybody. He was it was a long time ago. He was inexperienced. A lot of people have
amazing fold by Jamie Gold.
Yeah, he folds.
So, yeah, and then they have a little table talk about, and then Jamie Gold's like, I folded top two pair, really, and then DJ Goldie's like, yeah.
DJ's like, I gotta go back to not giving off tells.
Yeah, so this is one of the great things about Live at the Bike, because it's live stream, there's no editing out, and we get all the reactions. So even like Jamie Gold being concerned, or in my hand with Zach Elwood, we could see our facial expression. So even though we don't explicitly say things from the outside, we're like, yeah, we know what's going on. But at the same time, results matter, and this is the difference between analyzing a hand in the vacuum, like in a forum, or if I tell Zach a story about a hand I played, or he tells me a story about a hand he plays. It's like there's so much information missing, where if we're both watching the video, we catch like so much more and can have a more have a deeper discussion, so to say. So you have anything else to add for this hand?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like, I don't know how many people thought this, but some people were like, well, couldn't DJ have an overpair, like a aces or something? And I just think that's misguided, because you just wouldn't see such signs of relaxation from somebody with an overpair, because obviously in a big pot, somebody with one pair knows that that is a very vulnerable hand. So in those kind of big pot spots, big bet spots, somebody with one pair is generally knowing they're in trepidatious situation. They're not gonna. Yeah.
So you think
that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like anytime somebody has an overpair, it's like we're always wary that somebody flopped a set or two pair.
Right. So, if you're getting action, then there's a good chance you're beat.
Yeah. So, what are the chances you thought that, from Jamie Gold's point of view, it could also be another 9-7 top two pair, just within the range that's 9-7 plus a set? You're just like giving up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I guess it would depend on the player, but I still think even two pair in a big bet spot. I just think these kinds of like really loose, these common tells of really loose, relaxed behavior are going to be reserved for like pretty strong hands. So I think, two pair, sure, maybe. But I think even with two pair in those spots, a lot of people just feel, exposed and vulnerable, and they're going to be a little bit more buttoned up and less likely to have these kind of multiple loose tells.
Loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey, yeah. Be careful getting loosey-goosey. At least he wasn't eating a sandwich.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Melo and Jamie Gold. I interact with him quite a bit and like them both.